I'm going to share a beautiful story with you today. Many years ago, there was a spy who was caught spying in Russia. Now, spying in a country or against a country is a national crime. So when this spy was caught and was taken to the court, by default, obviously, the judge had to pass a death sentence. So the judge in the court passes a death sentence for this particular case. And the day of the execution is fixed. So on the day of the execution, now this criminal or the spy is being brought into the execution room. But the difference was, this time the judgment was a bit different. They usually give you a death sentence either by shoot to death or hang till death. But this time it was different. The death sentence was to be killed by the bite of a poisonous snake. Now this was so different, and the poisonous snake was obviously the world's most poisonous snake, the king cobra. So the spy is brought into the execution room. His hands and his legs are tied up to a chair, and they put over a cover on his face so he doesn't see the king cobra coming and biting him. And a king cobra is also brought into the room as a part of the execution. But right there, just right there, the Chief Justice who was present at that particular execution tells the executioner, saying, let's not bring the cobra inside. Let's do something different. So they get two little pins, two small little paper pins. And the judge says, wait for 5 minutes, and after that, quietly, the executioner is supposed to go to this spy who's already on the chair, and he's supposed to prick him with these two pins on his feet once, and then prick him on his feet twice, and that's it. So the executioner does just the same. There's no cobra in the room anymore, but the spy doesn't know about it. So he's sitting and expecting a cobra to bite him to death. And then a few minutes later, the executioner walks into the room, gets close to his chair, takes two paper pins and pricks his feet once. After a few minutes, about 3 minutes later, pricks it the second time, and then comes out and waits. The Chief Justice says, wait for 6 to 7 minutes and then let's see what happens. So they wait for 6 to 7 minutes, and then the doctor goes, and the Chief Justice and the executioner, they all walk into the room to see what's happening with this guy. So when they go next to the spy, the man is dead. The man is dead. They immediately move his body for an autopsy. And do you know the reason what caused his death? It was not the bite of a king cobra, because there was no cobra in the room. It was not because the pins were poisonous. It was because of a cardiac arrest that killed him. And you know the reason why he had this cardiac arrest? Because of stress in his mind. He assumed that those two pricks that hit him on his leg were that of a king cobra. He assumed it was of a king cobra, not of a pin, because he never knew it was a pin. So what killed him? It was not the king cobra that killed him. It was not the pins that killed him. It was his mind that killed him. He got a cardiac arrest out of stress and anxiety that led him to die. A similar story on April 23 of this year, April 23 of 2020, a great Indian UAE business tycoon whose name is Joy Arakal committed suicide by jumping from the 14th floor of his office tower in Dubai. Do you know the reason why? Okay, first you need to know who this gentleman was. He was 54 years old only. He owned the biggest oil tank clearing station in the Gulf. He had 24 oil tankers. He had the biggest house in Kerala. His yearly turnover was 30 billion, not million, 30 billion dollars. And he committed suicide. You know why? Because of some allegations that was raised against him, that was raised against his business, that was raised against his fundings. Allegations only. It was not decisions. It was not conclusions, but it was allegation. He so feared these allegations. He feared that he would be arrested. He feared that he would lose his reputation. He feared people were already talking about his business and people were already talking about these allegations in the market. It was fear and anxiety that led him to jump off that building. And now, 4 months later, those allegations were still not being able to be proved. Those allegations were not proved yet. And he's already gone. There's no allegations anymore, but he's not there as well. If he did not jump that day, he could have stayed and he could have faced those allegations. He could have cleared his name off. He was not a small guy. What led him to jump? It was stress, it was anxiety. It was not the situation. He was not in jail. He was not arrested. He was not given the tag of a criminal. He did not even go to court. There was not even a case registered on him yet. He jumped to his death, fearing the result of something that did not happen yet. He jumped to his death, fearing tomorrow that never came today. And after 4 months, nothing was proved. He has a clean chit, but he's no more to see that clean chit. Few weeks ago, I read a news article about a young student who committed suicide. Why? Because he feared his exam results would be bad. He feared that he would fail in his exam results, which was the next day. He committed suicide 1 day before his results, believing and fearing that he would fail his exams. And if he failed his exams, he said, the promises I made to my parents, the commitments that I have, I would not be able to fulfill it. I would be a failure. I would be a flop student. Everybody would laugh at me. Everybody would mock me. He couldn't take it. The stress and the anxiety was so strong in his mind, he jumped off the 7th floor and killed himself. The next day, when the results came, he passed. But he was no longer there because he passed out. Your mind can be more poisonous than a king cobra. Your mind can be more poisonous than the actual results. Your mind can be more poisonous than the real consequences. How you control your mind, how you tame your mind, how you manage your thoughts is important. And it's very important for you to know, do not rely on your mind all the time. It will not give you the right directions unless and until you know how to control your mind, you know how to tame your mind. I'm signing off now and I'm coming back soon with another video to tell you how you can change this fear, change this anxiety, convert this fear and anxiety and stress into energy. Till then, don't give up, don't listen to your mind all the time. Remember, tomorrow hasn't come yet. Tomorrow is still tomorrow.